Hi,
Hi.
I'm Haley.
I'm Lily. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. What brings you in today?
Okay. So for starters, I was born with acid reflux disease,
Okay.
which I'm not sure if you're familiar with what that is, but a lot of acidic foods that I would eat when I was little would come back up and burn my throat. So I now have kind of a fear of those foods, which sounds really silly.
No, that's not silly. That's completely valid.
Well, thank you. So growing up with that, I eventually grew out of it.
Okay.
But I think for the longest time, my parents, in a way, let it be an excuse for me.
Okay.
So instead of really trying to push me and force me to try new things, they kind of gave up. And allowed me to make choices on my own about what I wanted to eat and what I wouldn't eat. Not saying that they didn't try, because they did. They would try and feed me things, but my mom said that I would just keep my mouth clamped shut and that they couldn't get me to eat at all. And I would go hours without eating, which isn't healthy for a young child. So I think I have just a fear of trying new foods.
Okay.
Because for so long I have let it be an excuse for myself. I'm 21 years old now, and I still make up excuses like, oh, that texture would bother me, or oh, I know I don't like that food just by the way it smells, or something silly like that.
You seem like you're placing a lot of almost not blame towards your parents, but it seems like you almost blame yourself. Like there's a guilt factor there. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, I think, entering this new phase of being an adult, I feel that I don't make decisions for myself.
Okay.
And I just let old feelings be how I feel now.
Okay.
I don't establish new ideas or new ways about how I want to think about foods. I always have really good intentions. Like I'll get in really good spirits about, oh, I'm going to start trying different fruits. But when it comes time to actually trying them, I don't do that.
So there's not that sense of following through on your actions, or on your choices.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's correct. But having this disease my whole life, again, I let it be an excuse for me. My parents did try when I was little, and then a couple of years ago, I spent the summer in Tennessee with my sister, who her husband is a chiropractor, and they are very health conscious, all about being tested for your allergies and how you can cut those allergies out of your diet to be able to help your health benefits and help your digestive system. And because of that, my family members actually have been doing that. They've lost all this weight and they have all this energy. And because I tend to not want to face my fears, I haven't dealt with that yet.
So it sounds like you're feeling kind of abandoned by the rest of your family as they're moving on and trying new things, kind of stuck. Is that right?
Yeah. It's hard when my two older sisters are about as big as my pinky, and I'm having all these health issues with my weight gain and some other smaller health issues, and I just feel like I'm in a different family just because of I don't fit the Sodom stereotype.
So that idea of not fitting the mold or not fitting in that black sheep kind of complex, is that right?
Yeah. That's a lot of it.
Okay.
Another thing that I think I've actually kind of noticed on my own is that for so long I just blamed my parents, like you had mentioned earlier. I just blamed it on my parents. I didn't take ownership of it for myself. And then after a couple of summers ago, I came back and really hadn't learned anything from that experience. I blame my sister and her husband because she worked a lot and wasn't able to give me the time or attention or focus that I needed. So in a way, I keep almost looking for excuses to blame other people instead of trying to cope with it myself.
Because you're comfortable the way you are, is that right? You don't feel the need to kind of branch out. Is that correct?
I would say that I like to be comfortable where I'm at.
Right.
But I'm honestly kind of uncomfortable being in my own skin because of it. And there are times where one outweighs the other, and the other outweighs
Right.
the latter. And so, I feel like I have great intentions when I'm in the mood to want to try new things, but I just become paralyzed by fear when it comes time to actually try new foods.
So it seems like there's just a lot of anxiety and fear surrounding this whole situation.
Yeah, absolutely. I I think too, my family constantly makes fun of me because I don't eat right. They're constantly telling me, Lily, try this, you'll love it, I promise. Or there's that girl eating that grilled cheese again. Like just little things that are more like teasing, not making fun of necessarily, but growing up as a very sensitive kid would leave the dinner table crying because of it. We'd sit down for Thanksgiving meals and I wouldn't have turkey on my plate or any of the good casseroles or vegetables or pies even, certain desserts that everyone else would have. And I would feel very, again, kind of excluded and just really, I guess the word I'm looking for would be embarrassed by the fact that, I wasn't like everyone else and that I was different. And almost waiting for the hat to drop, waiting for someone to mention it. And as I've gotten older, I've been able to kind of grin and bear it. It still doesn't make it any easier.
So you feel this need to hide your emotions because there's shame and guilt involved?
Yeah, I think too, I'm afraid of getting to that breaking point.
Right.
Of being in a family setting and having them tease me about it. And either just crying at the drop of a hat or, even taking it so far as to being angry with them and causing family drama, which I don't want.
Right.
So, I've dealt with this for years. And it's something that a couple summers ago, back, before I went to live with my sister for the summer, had decided that I was finally ready to own up for it, to take my own stance and say, this is me, this is who I am, I know what I need to do to fix it. I had come to this great realization point and had worked it all out with my family, with my sister, to be able to go and live there this summer, a couple summers ago. However, coming back, I didn't get any, I felt like I didn't get anything out of it. I was hoping to come back just eating, everything under the sun or,
Right.
At least, things that are more nutritious.
Right.
What I got out of it was eating more chicken, eating smoothies. Not that those aren't great starting points, but I guess I was very disappointed.
So I'm getting the sense that you are disappointed in yourself because you set such high, maybe unrealistic expectations, and then when you didn't meet those, there was again another wave of guilt and embarrassment and shame over that failure.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a big sense of failure in what you're saying.
Yeah, and I think it's enough to want to allow myself to continue to make excuses for it.
Okay.
It's like, oh well, I tried once. It had taken a lot out of me. I wasted a whole summer when I could have been with my family, my boyfriend, my church family, my friends. And I got to know my sister a little bit better and get to know my nephews a little bit better, but I feel like the cost was more than the gain, more than the reward.
Okay. Well, I want you to know, as someone who's gone through a childhood, that disease, dealing with that as a child who doesn't understand your body, that's very normal to feel the trauma coming out of that.
Yeah.
I just want you to know, like, you're not weird, it's normal what you're going through.
Yeah.
And it, I think, is to be expected. But I want to let you know we have just a few more minutes left of our session. Your story is super important, and I want to hear more, and I want to help you with it.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to add to this session, just in our last couple of minutes before we wrap up?
Yeah, I think I might add just for, since we're running out of time, but just to kind of mention that it's not that I'm giving up on myself.
Okay.
I want to do better. That's why I'm here. That's why I came.
Exactly.
But I think I'm one of those people who needs someone to be there with them while they're doing it. It's like when it comes to doing it on my own, it doesn't get easier. So just throwing that out there, maybe in future sessions we can kind of talk about that.
Okay, so yeah, absolutely. So to summarize, what I'm hearing from you is that you grew up with acid reflux, and that the fear of that sensation of throwing up has caused you to be afraid to try new foods. So you found things that work, and you're sticking with those things because they're safe, which is totally normal, to not want to branch out from that. But now I'm seeing that you really do have a desire, to move past where you're at and to really expand what you're able to eat. I think in an effort to become more health conscious.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that those are great goals. And I'd love to sit down with you and make a plan as to how we can move forward, because I think it's very doable. Okay, very good. Well, I will see you next week.
That sounds great. Thank you so much.
You're so
I appreciate
welcome.
it.
Okay.